All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to break down this really amazing conversation about a problem we all face. And while we're at it, I'm going to show you one of the absolute best ways to learn English just by listening to real, honest conversations. It's a lesson about life and a lesson in language all rolled into one. Let's dive in.
So it really all boils down to this one question, right? A question pretty much every single one of us has asked ourselves. Now, the easy answer is always follow your dreams. But as this whole conversation points out, real life, with bills and responsibilities and all that fear, makes things, well, a whole lot messier.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into that battle between our dreams and reality. Then, we'll look at how fear puts on a clever disguise. And we'll find out what real courage looks like. After that, we're going to shift gears and see how this very conversation is a language lesson, taking a quick word tour before landing on a really powerful idea about how to stick with your goals.
Okay, first up, the two voices inside. You know that feeling? That constant back and forth in your head between what you really truly want and what you feel like you have to do?
And this, right here, just nails that feeling. On one side, you've got that sensible voice, the one asking all the hard questions. But on the other side, you've got the dreamer's voice, holding on to this idea of a life that just feels more you. And that pull, that tension between the two, yeah, that's pretty much where most of us live, day in and day out.
Wow, what a powerful way to put it. The idea is that your dream doesn't just disappear, it gets blocked. Life just starts stacking up all these boxes, responsibilities, what other people expect, just being tired right in front of that window, making it harder and harder to see out. The light's still shining through, but after a while you can actually forget that the window's even there.
All right, let's move on because this next part is huge. This is where we look at one of the biggest boxes piled in front of that window, fear, and how it's like a master of disguise.
Here's the thing about fear. It almost never shows up and says, "Hi, I'm fear." Instead, it shows up in a business suit and calls itself being realistic. It's the part of you that has a spreadsheet for every worst-case scenario and a calendar full of reasons why now just isn't the right time. Its number one goal is to keep you comfortable, but in doing that, it just slowly and quietly makes your world smaller.
And this is the absolute key, right here. From the outside, wisdom and fear can look exactly the same. Both of them might tell you to slow down, to be careful, but one of them, wisdom, is trying to protect the dream. The other one, fear, is just trying to protect you from ever feeling uncomfortable, even if that means the dream has to die.
Okay, so this leads us to a really different idea of what courage is. It's not always that big, dramatic movie scene where you quit your job in a blaze of glory, Sometimes real courage is a whole lot quieter than that. So the speakers in this conversation talk about restraint, not as weakness, but as a kind of wisdom. It's that little voice inside that says, yeah, I want to change, but I'm not going to make a huge, messy decision just because I'm frustrated right now. It's really about caring for your dreams so much that you refuse to mess it up by being impulsive.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Escaping something that's making you miserable feels great for a minute, but it is not the same thing as carefully and intentionally building the life you actually want. One is just running from something, the other is about building towards something.
So really, the big takeaway here is that courage doesn't always have to shout. A lot of the time, it's just that quiet, everyday consistency of saving a little bit of money, or learning a new skill when you get home from work, or just refusing to let go of what's important to you.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second. We've been talking about what they're saying, but now let's talk about how they're saying it, and how listening to a conversation just like this one can be an incredibly powerful way to improve your English.
And just so we're clear, this isn't an accident. When you tie language to real human emotions and big ideas, it stops being about memorizing a list of words and becomes a real tool you can use to understand yourself and the world around you.
So what's the magic here? Why does this work so well? Because you're not just learning a word, you're connecting it to a real feeling. You're hearing how people actually talk, in a context that makes sense, and that helps it stick in your brain. Your brain just soaks it all up, simply by following a story you actually find interesting. To really show you what I mean, let's go on a quick word tour and check out some of the key vocabulary that makes this whole conversation come to life.
All right, first up is the word conviction. Now, this isn't just a belief, it's that deep down feeling that you're on the right path. And what's so interesting is how they talk about it. You can have total conviction and still feel scared. The conviction is just what helps you move forward anyway.
Okay, next we've got a great phrase, to take the plunge.
It's that moment you finally decide to do something big, but only after thinking about it for a really, really long time. It's when it finally becomes harder to stay put than it is to just go for it. Then there's to hold back. You know that feeling when you want to say or do something, but you just stop yourself? That's holding back. And the point they make is that if you do this enough, it just becomes a habit you don't even notice anymore.
And our last one is to work toward. I love this one because it's the perfect answer to that all or nothing feeling. It reminds you that you don't have to get there today, you just need to be taking those small steps toward it.
All right, this brings us to our final and honestly maybe the most important idea of all. We're going to pull everything together to find a kinder, more realistic way to think about our biggest goals.
And here it is, the big idea at the heart of the whole conversation. Maybe that pressure to follow your dreams is just too much. What if the real goal is simpler? What if it's just loyalty, a quiet promise to yourself not to completely give up on that part of you, even when life gets complicated?
And this path of loyalty is all about small, doable things. Learning a new skill on the side, saving a little money, trying out an idea in a small way. These are those quiet acts of courage we were talking about. And you know what? It's exactly how you get better at English. It's not about one huge study session. It's about that steady, loyal, day in, day out practice.
So let's end with this thought. Whether we're talking about a huge life goal or your mission to master English, the idea is the same. You don't need some huge dramatic change tomorrow. You just need a little bit of loyalty. So my question for you is, what's one small thing you can do, starting today, to stay loyal to what really matters to you?